Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is episode 6 of Pixels, Plastic, and Ink, and the final day of Star Wars week. The crew here has been watching all kinds of Star Wars content. We had a lot of Star Wars content on the Shadowe Knows Network, and we're going to wrap it up with some amazing Star Wars content this evening, including an elimination bracket challenge, the best lightsaber battles. Who will take the top prize? Find out. Also, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, another ape movie, getting good reviews. What are our thoughts on the franchise? Looks like they're going to make a hell of a lot more. And then we jump into plastic, the toy segment, Star Wars HasLab. We checked last time, a little bit of a disaster on release, and now there is a potential leak of what it is. We'll get your thoughts. Also, a Marvel Legends figure on Target exclusive again. A bit of a disaster. What in the heck is going on with Target pre-orders? And then a Kickstarter campaign going wrong. Oh boy, we got a lot to talk about. And lastly, Ink. Marvel Comics pricing and a new series policy. All that and more. Stay tuned. This is episode 6 of Pixels, Plastic, and Ink. Well, thank you for tuning in. I love that intro. Gets the goosebumps, man. I'm super excited. How's your all evening? Another episode, gentlemen. How's the week going?
Going pretty good, man. Can't complain, brother.
True story.
Are you all feeling the Star Wars? Anything Star Wars related? Did you break out the lightsabers, the Darth helmets?
No, but somehow my Jedi mind trick didn't work at DMV this week, so I don't know what's going on.
Talk about the Galactic Empire.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that is it.
If there's one thing that's built off of that premise, it's the DMV.
Yeah, I actually got through all of Tales of the Empire, which was pretty fantastic. Interesting. 3 about Morgan Elsbeth and 3 about Barriss Offee. Lesser characters, but they're actually really good episodes, and they're real short too. So you can get through it in pretty much one sitting. I don't think any of them are longer than 15 minutes.
No. I think it took me maybe 45 minutes at the most to get the breeze through it. It's actually a pretty good runtime. Attention span wise is really good.
I went to a local brewery over the weekend, and they had the one of the epic. It's like the 301st troop that dresses up in the authentic costumes. So Darth Vader was there, and TIE fighter pilots and Jawas. I mean, they go all out. And talking with one of them, they said it's like the busiest time of the year. They get hired for all types of private events and conventions and stuff. So, I mean, some authentic costumes, like thousands of dollars. Like, whew, that is dedication. But it's exciting, man, to see all that stuff. And my daughter loved high-fiving Jedis and super cool stuff. Chet, any Star Wars purchases for you? Any vintage Star Wars purchases for the Chet cave? Because it's usually something happening over there.
There usually is, but I've paused on the purchasing of things. There was one thing that would have got my purchase, but it was not complete, and that was the Kenner Slave 1 and it was missing the what's the carbonite, whatever it was, Han Solo.
Han.
Was
Yeah.
that the
Yeah.
only thing missing?
That was literally the only thing missing.
Dude, I have the carbonite Han Solo from Slave One.
From
It's
Kenner?
and the door. That's the only part I still have.
Oh man, so if I would, so I might go back on and see.
You might go back because if
Yeah.
you get it and that's the only thing you're missing, it's yours, man.
Yeah,
we're
no,
gonna do a live. We're gonna do a live filming of them together, like I'm home.
It's gonna be magical, like
Yes,
because I do have my Imperial TIE fighter. I was thinking about selling that, and then I just looked at it and I was like, it's too good. It's too good to sell.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I wanted it. It was the Slave One that I saw was really good. It's just missing that stuff, and I was like, I can't find that. So
well,
or can you?
But now
you just gotta ask around.
I guess I can.
Gotta barter with some Jaguars.
Jedi Master Brantley is the Jawa of the Pixels Plastic and Ink crew. You need it, he'll find it. That's for sure.
That's apparently what I'm finding out right now.
Well, we're definitely going to talk about Star Wars toys. But thanks for all joining. This is Pixels Plastic and Ink, 7 p.m. Pacific time every Friday. We are live on the Shadowe Knows Network. Please, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We are just inching closer to 500 followers. We so much appreciate it. And then also comment. We're live. So any questions, any thoughts on our big topic of the evening, we'd love to hear from you. But again, we appreciate you all following. And it literally takes a half a second to click the button to help support the channel. Without further ado, gentlemen, it's time to go into our big segment of this evening. And that is the Bracket Elimination Challenge, the best lightsaber battles in Star Wars history.
Bow,
man, it's going to be hard this evening. So there was so many different lightsaber battles we could choose from. So we do have to clarify one thing. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from Star Wars fans. I'll take the blame. The Wookiee will take the blame, but the animated lightsaber battles. Hey Travis, thanks for joining. The animated Jedi battles are not part of the bracket, but to clarify, we're doing all live action elimination challenge. And at the end, then we're going to throw some of the top animated battles and see if that top one could beat the live action one. So are you all ready to jump into things this evening?
Yeah, I guess we should.
Like Anakin Skywalker, dead on, brother.
It's so sandy.
Let us do it then. Okay, so here we go. As you can see here, 2, 4, 6, 8 on each side, down to 1. I think it's going to be a bit challenging for all of us, so I'm excited to get into it. And we're going to start off with our first battle of the evening, the Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, the first duel on Obi-Wan Kenobi, Episode 3 versus Ahsoka and Baylan, Episode 7 of Ahsoka.
Well, that was Episode 3 was when he was very weak still and got his ass kicked. The better one is later on in that series. So for this, I think Ahsoka and Baylan takes it.
I agree. I'm going to go with Ahsoka Baylan. It was short, but epic because I think it was the buildup to see this fight. And unfortunately, we will not see the original Balin again with the lightsaber, but there's something historic about seeing that for sure.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Also, one thing, Travis, the animated stuff, I think Chris, we're gonna wait till after we do the initial bracket and add some animated stuff in at the end. So stay through the segment for but I do agree Anakin and Ventress from Clone Wars was pretty good. I'm gonna say that the original one is I guess in the classic sense is good, but it's the first time we ever see that ever happen. So it's not really that exciting. I will give the Ahsoka series did a great job with some of that stuff, but again, you're looking at almost a 40-year history kind of scenario on that. So, but I think it's a much the Ahsoka Balin is a better fight, but classic wise, obviously 3 is one of the best. So, but I'll go with Ahsoka.
I don't think Master Storm basically took the words out of my mouth. I loved Darth Vader and Obi-Wan's battle. However, the Ahsoka Balin was probably one of the most realistic choreographed ones that I've seen in a while. It was really good. And I'm going to actually change how this looks so that we don't cover people's faces. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so Ahsoka definitely takes it.
And we got Travis, so we got 5 for 5 on this one, advancing.
Yep. There you go, Travis.
Okay, next up is Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader, and A New Hope versus Master Yoda versus Darth Sidious. Man, this was a tough one for me because
it is
both legendary battles here.
So I'll kick this one off.
Okay.
It's for me, this one this one is super close. However, I went with Master Yoda versus Darth Sidious because watching Yoda in that fight was kind of epic. Like it was just kind of honestly, it was kind of epic to watch because I mean Yoda's always just so super calm and like just he's like the stoner of the movie. So to see him battle was epic. And Darth Sidious, like he's one of my favorite Darths. So yeah, I mean I think that's that one is what takes it for me.
Well, this is 2 old men against 2 old men, and out of the old men battles, I think Yoda and Sidious is the one because that first one, it's not that exciting. It was exciting at the time because it was the first we had ever seen of this, but it was fencing sort of the old style. They really stepped up their game in the subsequent movies in the lightsaber duels.
Yeah.
And I think let's see. Yoda and Sidious is nothing against the original. Yeah. I absolutely agree with Travis on this one too. I'm gonna have to go with that as well myself. Look, you have a digital Yoda. He's a puppet before it's time we see him, but there's 2 sequences in those set of prequel films where Yoda is like, why he sits on the Jedi Council. It's not because he's just an old dude. It's because he could sling that lightsaber with the best of them. So I will most definitely will go with Yoda and Sidious. And plus also I love the way the Force, all the Force lightning and the actual power was used in that too. So that's kind of cool, man. So I'm going with that.
It's tough because we're comparing what we're saying top battles. Right?
Exactly.
There's no question the choreography and the special effects. But Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, man, it's just such iconic. I mean, look at that screenshot there. I mean, it's so amazing. So this one was a tough one for me, but I think just based on, as you all said, just the fight choreography, it is Master Yoda and Darth Sidious. Plus, to your point, Chet, like it was the first time, like Yoda, like no one was expecting that. So
at all.
And I will agree with that. But yeah, let's see. Also, we got Travis.
So So we've got two here. We've got Kylo Ren versus Rey in Rise of the Skywalker.
Boo.
And Anakin Skywalker versus Ahsoka. And there was lightsaber sequences here, but that just sequence in that episode is next level as well. So what do we say here?
That's one of the things that made that series. That was great. And the only out of the 3 movies of the sequels, the only one that I thought was good enough to put on any of these lists was Kylo Ren and Rey versus the Praetorian Guards in Last Jedi. But besides that, the lightsabers didn't really do anything for me in those movies.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna disagree with my trusted partner over the last 30 plus years. I will say that I thought the Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka, it was just epic, man. It was unexpected. I didn't expect that series to run that deep. And it's like taking the Clone Wars animated and actually changing it to live action, and it went flawless. So while I thought there was Kylo Ren and Rey had some good battles, but for me it was mostly seeing Anakin and his Padawan Snips on the screen that did it for me, man.
You're agreeing with me.
Yeah, Jedi Master also said, he said Ahsoka.
I know. I was saying that all the Kylo Ren stuff was trash.
Oh, I
except
thought
for the one.
I thought you was giving that one scene. I was like,
no.
But I guess the thing is, was it great was it great Jedi versus? I guess the thing is, like, we just rated the previous one with great choreography. Was the Anakin Skywalker Ahsoka battle great choreography, or are you putting it on another level because of like the backstory and seeing Vader and like the time sequencing? Because if I think back and I watched this recently, Kylo Ren and Rey, I know there's definitely better ones, as you stated, Dr. Brantley. But I'm going to say Kylo Ren and Rey. If we're just saying choreography, I think that one was better in my opinion.
It's not just choreography. I mean, Anakin and Ahsoka actually meant something. There was actual drama behind it. The other one's flashy. I'll give them some of that, but the one in Ahsoka actually made you care. And I think that's more important than the choreography. That beats it out this time.
And that's exactly like Chad said, there was a lack of emotional investment. And that's where I will agree with him as well. And same thing with Dr. Brantley. I think that when you saw, like I said again, you hadn't seen it that, first of all, up until the Clone Wars series, we didn't even know he had a Padawan. So for them to add that into, I guess, their extended kind of universe, flow that together, and yet these characters now they have such a connected relationship with one another, and then to see them years later on the screen, which we never thought we were going to be able to see. I never thought that there was going to be, like I said, such an uncreative character as Ben Solo, which, like, my God, it's like it took a long time to think of that character and write him on the screen. But Ahsoka is a character out of nowhere. The bones, there's no connection other than to Anakin. So the emotional factor, I think it works 10 times better between those two than it did the two characters that we hardly cared about.
Well, that's the thing that I'm struggling with, because going back, Yoda and Sidious, was there more emotional connection than Obi-Wan and Darth Vader?
I think so, yeah. Because we've always wanted to
disagree. I think Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in the original New Hope was way more powerful of a moment, reflecting back of those two
but we didn't know at the time.
Right, but now we do.
Now we do, but again, it was like the two Titans coming up against each other for the first time. It's like the Gandalf and Saruman battle, right? It's like finally two Titans against each other. Who's gonna win?
See, and I like that's.
And
a great
Yoda was
point,
a punk about it.
See, part of like the the choreography and the things, like you said, there are certain things if you rewatch them. But look, that's just my opinion. I think Darth Maddox, it comes down to you. Is this going to be a tie, or are you going with Anakin and Ahsoka?
Well, for me, I understand both sides, but Kylo Ren and Rey are the ones that took this for me. There was just a lot of other elements behind the lightsaber battle. I think the overarching problem with the Kylo Ren and Rey is that the movies kind of trash. But the lightsaber battle, it's good. I think they did well. Like the Ahsoka and Anakin one is great, but I just liked the use of the Force and the lightsabers and distraction and how it was done, and then that ultimately led into like other. So I know this one for me was Kylo Ren and Rey.
So we do have a tie on this one, and
well, there's always this.
Yeah. Well, Travis, you have swayed. We typically go to the chat, and as a participator, you have decided for us as a tie. Anakin and Ahsoka move forward.
Yeah.
Next up is Count Dooku versus Anakin versus Luke and Darth Vader.
Ooh.
I don't think this one's fair. Do you know why?
Whatever do you mean?
I just don't think it's fair. This is you're taking you're I just don't
I'm taking my lightsaber and I'm going home. It's not fair.
It's literally not fair. Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader is gotta win it just in regards to it's like the buildup of everyone watching Star Wars for years, just like, oh crap, they're fighting, and then the dialogue that happens during the fight, the tension that's built during the fight, the actual fight, what happens at like I just don't think it's fair. Like Count Dooku versus Anakin Skywalker, you had how many movies to come up with that idea? And like,
yeah, but what happened to Dooku at the end?
Lost a little weight.
Yeah, got a new role in a different movie.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I agree with you. I mean, I don't have to say much. It's Luke versus Darth for me, but
yeah,
if there's an argument on Dooku and Anakin, because it was a cool battle.
No, it's not. It's not that it wasn't a cool battle, but like, it's just one of those things where it's like,
it doesn't have anything on the backstory of Luke and Vader and finding everything out. Again,
Spoiler
this is
alert.
one where I think the drama takes over the choreography.
Okay, well, it's Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader to me. It's the most emotional thing. That whole damn. I remember the next 2-3 years, it was the thing that everybody was school like, oh my god, is that true or not? It's the essential, I think, best cliffhanger in all the films. So the Dooku one, I will say the worst part about it is Christopher Lee. He was just, he wasn't of age to make that performance look like it was really in sequence and everything. But it's it's here or there. I think the animated series we get to see better points of Dooku because he's animated. Christopher Lee was a very older gentleman at the time, but the Luke Skywalker Darth Vader, that's one of the most epic fight scenes on all of the movies. And it has such an actual emotion, and it has such a critical importance to the entire series of films, from that to anything that comes past that. So that gets my grade up. I know I'm going long on that. Sorry, but that's what I'm feeling on that one, man.
I think we're all in alignment. I think it's a tough decision, but the epic battle. Now we move on to Ahsoka and Balin versus Yoda and Darth Sidious.
Yoda and Sidious.
Yep, same for me.
Yeah, very easy for me. Yoda and Sidious.
Chet.
Oh yeah, it's Yoda.
Okay,
I'm a Yoda fanboy.
Anakin and Ahsoka versus Luke and Darth.
Luke and Darth.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Luke and Darth.
Okay. And then the final two on the left side of the bracket: Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader, or Master
this one's
Yoda
hard
and
for
Darth
me.
Sidious.
This one's hard for me.
I gotta go Luke and Darth.
Still, I'm gonna say Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader.
Jedi Master, what do you say?
Oh yeah, it's Luke and Darth.
Look, I'm Chet. I kind of agree a bit here, and that is the choreography and the Yoda. See the things we just talked about, a couple minutes ago. It's very tough here. I think iconically, the build-up, totally Luke and Darth, the meaning behind it, but there was a big payoff with Yoda, and the fight in itself was pretty badass and better, in my opinion, than Luke and Darth Vader. So it's very, very close.
This is why I'm leaning towards Yoda and Darth, because it was like, how could you get even more intense than Skywalker and Vader? Oh yeah, let's use the two above them, which is Yoda and Sidious.
Let's see. Somebody got their hand cut the heck off. It's like, there's a difference. There's a point. My man is like at the lowest point. Yoda just tucked tail and ran. It's like, but Luke is beaten and destroyed, and he has to somehow have an emotional factor on something. First of all, there's a lie descripted to him that he never thought, and actually it's not a technical lie if you ask Obi-Wan, but that's the difference between two. Is so much critical. Like you're asking somebody to kill an emperor, or the head of the Senate. You're asking somebody to kill their own father. It's a different scenario, bro.
And also, it's like, hey, Jimmy Smits, I need you to pick me up in 5 minutes. Versus, hey, there's no other option. You have to come with me. And he chooses suicide as far as he knows. He just lets go and falls down this shaft in Cloud City.
Hey, if we're going
much
by
more epic.
But if we're going by like limbs lost, Dooku lost his head and he didn't get to advance. So I'm just saying, if we're
you know
what I mean? Like,
but Dooku was gonna, of course, because he could barely move. He was shifting from side to side. There's a difference. At least Lord Sidious was jumping over people and backflipping. I give him credit for that. For an old guy, he's pretty limbo.
I agree with you, Darth Maddox, but I do. It's to me, it's like a 51% to 49%. But
yeah,
I think Luke and Darth.
I just wanted the debate. Ultimately, my choice is Luke and Darth, but I mean, it's
don't worry, Darth Maddox. Let me see if I can change it. Okay, nope, it's not working.
No,
that shit don't work on me.
All right, so the winner of the left side of the bracket is going to be Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader. Please, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button, like the video. It's important. It helps the channel grow. This is Pixels, Plastic, and Ink, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Every Friday, we talk about all things pop culture. And we are wrapping up Star Wars week. And we are on to the right side of the bracket. And it is two epic ones. What do you all say to these two legendary battles? And I think Jedi Master Brantley, you had referenced this one in the beginning, the better of the two of the Obi-Wan Darth Vader in the Kenobi series.
Yeah, it is.
Because putting together that little montage, I watched this one again specifically, and it is awesome. But the Duel of the Fates is possibly the best of the sword fighting that they've done. So I have to go with that. It kills me that it goes out so early, but Duel of the Fates is hard to beat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same. Like, it's look, that saved the entire Phantom Menace film. Like, we were
Yes, it
sitting there
did.
wondering what was going to happen, and there were people literally in the theater like, "Oh man, I can't believe one damn lightsaber battle." But the minute you saw that door open, and my man standing there, you're like, "Oh snap, it's about to go down!" And the crowd, I remember, was sitting in the theater opening day because we left work early to go see this movie. Everyone did, even my boss was like, "You guys going to see Star Wars? Because I'm leaving." And then we closed like the shop down at like 12 noon. That's how bad it was, but. I remember the minute that door opened, that roar from that theater was like the loudest I have heard in a very long time. It's only a couple of films that I've heard that at. One was like The Dark Knight as well, but it's just impactful when you see them, and especially when they start taking the robes off. You're like, "Oh, here it go."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the original Duel of Fates, like easy. Although, don't get me wrong, Vader and Obi-Wan were epic. I'd watch that 10 times over, but it's just hard to compare to that.
And I'll say one thing too, that Travis didn't mention, that the dual lightsaber. That, like, I didn't even know up until that point that they even had that. Even from the extended universe, I hadn't seen it. So, yeah, it's emotionally charged, man. But it did save that movie.
Dude. Yeah, I will always be a Darth Maul fan. I love his backstory. He's epic. And yeah, I mean that when he I mean, just the way it's presented for the fight. And then it's just like, the way it's presented is like, oh shit. And then they take off the robes. It's like, oh shit. And then the next one's like, oh shit, it's a dual saber. That was just, there's so many moments in there. It was like, it's cool. So yeah, I go with Darth Maul.
Okay.
Also, didn't Darth Maul get that role because he was like the choreographer, and they're like, we should just make you into like a.
And then I don't know, but
that's what I thought happened.
But Ray Parks was again, when you see some of that behind the footage stuff of him like flipping and moving and everything, he brought so much to that was the first time I think I had ever sat and saw like one of the best epic, like they said, the Jedi's in their prime. They were like literally in their prime. You were like, wow, damn, can Lucas go back and special edition the other films?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll move on. I'm not sure what happened, but it looks like the final duel, this is the same as the one before that we just talked about, the final duel, right?
Yeah. No.
Did they fight twice in this series?
Obi-Wan and
a couple times.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did a couple times.
I think so. This is the final like there was two, I remember.
There's one I think that was earlier. Did he run from him or something? And he kind of gets away, and then there's one at the end, right?
The one that we had earlier on that was from episode 3 where he was weak and got his ass kicked.
Exactly.
There was that other one that you had just before this that was some other part, which I don't remember, because I remember the final one where he gets his helmet sheared.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what that was before. But anyway,
well, I'm gonna say Obi-Wan and Darth always beats Kylo Ren and Rey. It always beats them.
Now, what did you all think about Kylo Ren's lightsaber, though?
That's so stupid. So, right, when you've got the dual one like Darth Maul has, it's got two sides, right? That makes sense as a weapon. But this thing with the hilts coming out a little bit, it's kind of dumb. And
my favorite thing about Kylo Ren's lightsaber was when all the memes came out and they just added a bunch of them to the blade of the lightsaber. Like, it just like that one Kylo Ren, like that lightsaber just screams whiny bitch, and he doesn't want to get his hand hurt, so he's got those there to block his hand. And if you think about Kylo Ren's character, he's a whiny. So, I mean, yeah, I wasn't a fan of it. Again, Darth Maul's like, I mean, this guy's got like a full thing, you know.
It just pains me that you said Kylo Ren's a whiny bitch because he could have been so great.
He could have been epic. He literally could have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they just didn't give a shit. they didn't care. They didn't write him right. And to his credit, he's a great actor, and he played that role as good as he possibly could because of how it was written. Yeah. But if they would have written it for him to basically be like the next Vader and had him like embrace the even darker side even more and use the Force even more and be angry when he does it, it would have gone a whole nother route. It would have been awesome. And he should have been the first Jedi or the first Darth or somebody that uses the Force with a lightsaber. You know what I'm saying? So like he's like battling you using the Force and the lightsaber, and he's not holding it. Like they could have done so much with him. It bothers me. In fact, someone needs to rewrite it.
There you go. You're up, Master Storm, Jedi Master Brantley. A rewrite of the Star Wars films.
No, I don't think I can do that. But if Chet's looking at an argument, there is somebody. Travis does like Kylo's saber, so it's always up about the debate on that, isn't it?
Well, the other thing that I was thinking about as we're thinking about Kylo Ren and the Han Solo, did Han Solo ever pick up a lightsaber?
Yes, he did. Opened up the tauntaun so Luke would stay warm. Yeah,
but he never fought. Right? He only
with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Well, that tauntaun didn't make it out alive.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You
were just thinking about like that scene with Captain America. You know, he's got Thor's hammer or whatever. Like it would have been so epic if, like, at some point Han Solo actually did a battle with the lightsaber. I know he's not a Jedi, but I was just thinking about that would have been great before they killed him off. But
yeah, no, there's one of those sections where I've got to believe that maybe in the extended universe or in the comic, I'm sure he probably did, but I can't really see that.
Okay, next up is the famous Anakin Skywalker versus Obi-Wan, and then Mace Windu versus Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, this is Anakin and Obi-Wan all the way. That's like probably the second best of all the lightsaber duels, and Mace and all those Jedis backing him up were kind of punked out. They didn't last very long. Mace at least lasted a little bit.
Dude, all I'm gonna say is Mace Windu wins by default with me because it's purple. That's it.
Yeah, I love that clip that circulates online of like George Lucas explaining to him there's only like red, like that's how it works. It's either red or like green. And he's like, what about purple? And then all of a sudden he has a purple lightsaber. Like,
I mean, it's San Manuel Jackson. You got to give it to him,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting, Travis. So he did in the comics. Okay.
That's what I said. I knew somewhere in the extended universe they probably had that going. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's straightforward here.
But was it IDW? Because if it was, it doesn't count.
It was probably Dark Horse, to be honest with you. I'm sure it was probably Dark Horse.
One that Jedi Master Brantley mentioned, Rey and Kylo Ren versus the Guards, and then Darth Vader versus Reva Savander in Obi-Wan. So lots of Kenobi ones. So if you didn't like the series, it definitely had its fair share of good lightsaber battles.
It did. But this was one of the few times, and like I said again, I can see it waiting for a bolt of lightning to hit me. But I've got to say the Rey Kylo Ren versus the Guards was better than the Darth Vader versus Reva. I've got to say. So I thought that one's kind of like, because it's unfair. It's 10 times unfair battle. I think the Rey and Kylo Ren was actually like there was those guards were pretty down and they were going at him, but Darth Vader easily was just toying around with Reva, and he knew at any moment he could beat her. So it's not really a battle if you can win. So I'll give credit where credit's due on this one time, hopefully, and it's got to go to for Ray and Ben. I got to give it to him on that one, man.
Yeah, I think the guards are underrated. It was a good battle. I liked it.
Very good.
Yeah, one of the few times Jedi. It was a good battle.
Okay, moving on to the next round is Duel of Fates versus Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
See, now that says Obi-Wan and Darth Vader's final duel, but episode 6. So that's the big one.
Yes,
that's a big one.
Okay.
It's
still not better than Duel of the Fates.
No.
You may have jumped on your couch at home when you're watching this on Disney Plus, but it surely hell wasn't the excitement in the movie theater. So, okay, Duel of Fates, and then we have Anakin and Obi-Wan versus the Last Jedi sequence. I think we all agree which one is moving forward. Agreed.
Yeah, I think so. It's an easier one for me, and it's for me. It's I still think, damn, I like the high ground, brother. It's Anakin and Obi-Wan for me.
Okay,
it's like I gotta. That's my point, man.
Well, this is going to be the toughest one, and we're down to the final two on the right side.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Which of the two?
For me, this one's Duel.
I'm gonna go with Skywalker and Obi-Wan because the meaning, and it was so real, and it was almost like a bit of salvation of those films. It helped, if that final sequence in that film was disastrous, it would have been curtains for Star Wars universe. So I think the meaning, historic, too legendary, choreography, the scene itself where it took place, the making of Vader. I love Duel of Fates, but I got to go with Anakin and Obi-Wan here.
I kind of agree with you. And
Jesus.
The thing is, first of all, Darth Maul had the high ground and he still lost. So Obi-Wan knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say sense is like, both of these are highly important because you've got Darth Maul and basically Qui-Gon Jinn being removed, which is, he was intricate to the story. I didn't think he was actually something like that was going to happen after Phantom Menace. I thought they were setting up Liam Neeson for a couple more films. But this is literally the creation of Darth Vader and someone who has went astray, with Anakin.
They were setting him up for more films, but he was taken.
Well, yeah, that's the difference. I got it, brother.
He did the Taken.
I got it.
Comedy Hour is done.
Yeah. No, I got you. What you're saying, it was pretty funny. But yeah, no, I just think I think it's a greater importance, and I think the scene where he's basically his body's destroyed because we wondered how did Vader become more machine than man, and it's basically Obi-Wan when he's telling a story, he leaves out the part like, well, I made him more machine than man. So it's right on there, man. It does, because at the end of that film, you're like, wow. And again, the whole thing on Mustafar and the lava and everything else like that, it was pretty appropriate. It's probably one of the better ones. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Anakin in that.
I loved you, Anakin. Too bad he didn't respond with "I know," and he melts.
That would have been funny. I know. They did that in the Family Guy episode.
Oh, I'm sure. Are we in agreement here then? This is the top of the right.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have our final two, and that is, well, it seems to be Anakin's involved in both. Luke versus Darth, Anakin versus Obi-Wan. What is the best lightsaber battle of all time?
This is hard because, like, I think both create a terrible narrative. You've got like, one that's, father and son, and somebody ultimately leads to redemption. And then here's one where obviously somebody falls into the path of like, basically another allegiance. It's a tough one. Both battles are up there, but as much as I love to see Anakin and everything, I've got to think again the impactfulness of Luke finding out, because Anakin and Obi-Wan knew the situation. Obi-Wan goes there to take Anakin down. He knows what he's getting into. But like Luke has zero idea. He's led into Cloud City on false pretenses, and to learn that situation, it's got to be devastating to you. So I'm gonna say it's the Empire Strikes Back. It's always gonna take it from me, man.
If we're going by limbs lost, Anakin wins by a leg or two. But I think Cloud City, Luke and Darth is the most epic out of all of them, just for what it represents and finding out, his family history. Tough way to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to go opposite, and only because I'm going to emphasize more of the battle itself and less about what it revealed. And so I'm going to go with Anakin and Obi-Wan by a slight hair of the better lightsaber battle. So, Darth Maddox, you have a big decision to make, sir.
I do, but I'm a huge Monty Python fan. And if you remember the battle with the Black Knight where he keeps losing his limbs, that's what the Anakin Skywalker versus Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber battle reminded me of. And I was like, man, this is great. So
it's just a flesh wound.
It's just a mere flesh wound. What do you mean flesh wound? You can't even walk. Yeah, so no, it's Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan, and that is literally because that is what ultimately led up to becoming Darth Vader. But I think the dialogue in the for that series of movies, I think that the dialogue between Anakin and Obi-Wan is what really made that battle take it for me. It's very close. But yeah, that's what takes it for me.
Okay, so now we have a tie. When the only way to break a tie is to go to the chat. We got a few folks in there. Travis, you've been here all night. Anybody else that has any thoughts? Is it Anakin and Obi-Wan, or is it Luke and Darth Vader? We are letting the folks here in the live chat decide for us for PPI. So comment, next 30 seconds. Choose your destiny. It's Anakin and Obi-Wan. Any other thoughts? Are we going with Anakin and Obi-Wan? I think we're going to do it. Math and Science, if you're in here, I see you. Any thoughts here before we proceed with the final winner? Okay.
It's Anakin and Obi-Wan.
It is Anakin Skywalker versus Obi-Wan. Man, that was tough. I just got to go back and watch some of these. Now that we're talking about it. I did watch several of them, but makes me think about, hey, it could be just a night of watching lightsaber battles. Pretty awesome stuff. Well, I don't think it was a complete shock, but we have narrowed it down. So last thoughts on this topic before we proceed, gentlemen.
Yeah, I think what we should do is somewhere down the line do the top 10 from the animated shows.
Oh yeah.
Well, so we've got to do a part 2 to this at the point.
Oh yeah. Well, we have not finished because we are going to throw some of the animated battles out here right now live.
Okay.
I agree with you, Mr. Storm. I think we should just do a full bracket because there's probably a good 25 across the animated universe. But I'd like for us to narrow down a few and see of a contender. Could it take on Obi-Wan and Anakin? So Jedi Master Brantley, I know being an animated fan, you've got a few on your list.
I had 3 on my top 10. Ahsoka versus Darth Vader. and that was pretty cool. She also did the same thing where she smashed his helmet and was able to see a little bit of Anakin inside, which was really cool. Then there is Ahsoka versus Darth Maul on Mandalore, and that one they actually choreographed in with motion capture and did the fight for real, and then animated to them, and Ray Park actually came back to double as Darth Maul.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
It's one of the best fights, and it feels completely different than the other animated fights because it was essentially live action and then just rotoscoped into animation. But it's really cool. So if you check it out, see the behind the scenes on that, it's really cool seeing how they did it. And I think this is going to be Mr. Storm's as well. The best one out of that animated series was Darth Maul and Savage Opress versus the Emperor.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's definitely on mine. Let's see. There's a couple of epic ones. I think there was Ventress versus Ahsoka, and I don't know the episode, but that was actually pretty cool because here's our two main animated characters that are basically just invented for the TV show that have this that become bigger into the lore of that. And I would think it's not so much. I don't know if it's considered to be that, but there's the planet that they go on. Anakin Skywalker, the balancement between the light and the dark, and Anakin is incensed and fighting some kind of I guess a version of the Force or something, or the dark side. And so that was always epic to me as well, because that one was really one of those episodes that kind of like you didn't know about the dual balancing, and there's living embodiments of people that are imbalanced into the Force. So that to me is the top three I put in, but most definitely Darth Maul versus Lord Sidious and his brother. It was the most shocking and best fight scene I've ever seen on any of them.
And there's a couple where, because when Darth Maul came into the show, there were some great ones with Obi-Wan and his brother Savage, and some stuff with Ahsoka. In Rebels, there was some great stuff. So I mean, there's definitely enough to do a whole other bracket on that.
There's also a whole nother category of video games too.
Oh yeah,
sure too.
Because there are some amazing, there's some crazy lightsaber battles in the video games. So
yeah. And you know what? I did forget about this, and Travis, thanks for bringing it up. There were some epic battles with the Inquisitors and Rebels that I completely forgot about. Just blew my mind. Thanks for bringing it up. But absolutely, like I said, because Rebels low key had some, Kanan and a lot of those guys, they had some pretty damn good ones too. That's why I said this almost deserves like a part two just for the animated stuff, because there's so many ones I think we're not given enough due time to.
Well, was it it's Ben Kenobi and Maul and Rebels 2 was a good one. But maybe not top three, but there's like,
oh no, it's good.
Yeah, so many good. I think you're right. I think it's gonna be too hard to just.
I think it's too hard.
I think we need to do a second edition here, and we need to do animated and video games, and come up with a winner to take on Obi-Wan and Anakin live action. That would be interesting, because you're right, Chet. There's probably a good 10 sequences if I look back. I mean, they're putting together some amazing choreography as well.
Yeah, so we just will that into existence for another bracket challenge, because I think we definitely have to do that, man.
Yeah, definitely. Well, amazing stuff. I love talking about Star Wars, and we're going to jump into our next topic, and that is centered around toys and plastic. So speaking of plastic and Star Wars, for toy fans around the world, especially Star Wars collectors, there's been this big hype around the Secret HasLab project, where it's crowdfunded, and they delayed it which a lot of the fans were in uproar about. Like, it's Star Wars week. What the hell? What's the delay? And now apparently it has not been confirmed that the leak is going around that the this Star Wars Vintage Collection HasLab is the Mos Eisley Cantina, and the price will be $400. So regardless of the price, we don't know if it's just a rumor. It's well done if it's like a Photoshop, because it looks like it could be likely. Thoughts on this? Is this something you'd buy as a Star Wars fan? Like something you'd be excited about? And would you pay $400 for it? And I think we could probably just for the viewers who don't know what we're talking about, let's just quickly flash it. Does anybody have it on? Maybe
yeah,
pull it up while we're talking.
Yeah, I'm getting it up right now.
Now,
and also,
I had the very first Star Wars playset I had was the Cantina, and it had a cardboard backdrop and little area. There was a table, and you could move the character, and a little thing would pop up like Han Solo shot him. And it had little doors that opened with a rubber band. So it reminds me of that, but they stepped it up a little bit.
And also, too, now this is not our rumor. So the first time we got this was from the Star Wars _ toy collector on Instagram. He's the first person that broke that, and I know there's been a big thing on most of the YouTube channels about making sure we give people their due credit if this comes true. The pricing what killed me, $399. Like, I don't know what Hasbro's thinking, but to just have a bar for $399, that reminds me of some Jurassic Park gates.
Look how big that is.
Wait, I'm pretty sure, like, chat, you could make that.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I can literally make this tonight.
Yeah, this is
what I'm
for
saying.
that pricing.
I'm like, this is the Chet model. Like, did Chet do this? Like,
well,
I mean,
when
it's,
you look
it's
at
a cool concept. Like, people like, this is such an iconic cantina, but I'm looking at it. If it's real, it seems
no one will buy this
because it's easy. It's like,
yeah, this is like, go to Thingiverse and type in Star Wars Cantina, and you'll get all the 3D files you need to print this, and you can save yourself $390. If this is the actual thing that they postponed to release for a HasLab, it should be for about 2 days, and they should cancel it and come out with something that people want.
And maybe that's the case. Maybe they got like, this is not going to be suffice for our fans. And maybe that's the old stuff, and they were working really desperately to come up with something that's going to be better. Maybe that's the case.
Well,
it has to be.
This is a Rancor. This is not going to get funded.
Yeah, this is
not
like
for
the
$399.
No, $399 is way too much. You know what would get funded for $399 is the Death Star. But then if they did a Death Star that was like 3 1/4 figure size on the vintage line, that also had a stand, and it was like, it just had like half the Death Star, and you could like put it wherever you want to put it, and then it had like, for effects package, was like a giant green laser you could bolt onto the front, and it would shine up into your room. I would pay $399 for that. No one wants this. No one wants this cantina.
The one thing, though, is that you can do the tiers, and it's like the different figures that come with it. You need the bartender. You need some of those aliens that were in the corners that they never made actual figures of.
I don't.
Yeah, they were sitting in the bar, Julian. They're not gonna, like I said, you're not gonna kill yourself for like bar hops. Like, they've got to give something better than that, man. You know what they're gonna do? Have the guy that got his arm cut off and everything break?
That's right. With detachable arm, I would make a whole little section for it.
All I'll say is
this.
If this is what they released, and this is why we understand why every Hasbro Pulse live show sucks, is because they just know what the people want. And the stuff that they do have that people want, they don't think they want it, so they don't make a lot of it.
Now, they funded that gigantic Jabba sail barge, right?
Well, that's awesome.
No, but that was something that somebody wanted.
But now what you should do is the skiff, so that you can have with, it's a slightly smaller, but you can get Han and Luke and
now that
Lando
would make
and
sense.
Chewbacca
and
and
people
the
would buy that.
other guards that that are in there.
Hey, you want to make a play set that's from the movie that was like a 5-minute scene and then we never went over it again? Yeah, that'll sell. Like they could do a $3.99 what was that thing that pops out of the sand? What's that thing called? That eats everything, from the barge. What was that?
Sarlacc?
Yeah,
Sarlacc.
The Sarlacc, yeah. You can make a Sarlacc pit, which is literally just like
I'd buy it. I'd buy that.
Just like a little sandbox for
remote
kids.
control tentacles.
Yeah, and it just goes up and does this, and you
can just throw my action figure fodder down the hole. Just keep swallows.
Yeah,
swallowed.
It'd be sick. But yeah, no one. This is. I hope to God this isn't actually true.
It just looks unfinished. It looks unfinished. That's why
I think that's true.
I mean, even if it was going to be a cantina, this looks like an early stage prototype model.
Well, look,
so again, it's not opened up, so it, because they would have something that looks good that you can display. That looks very cluttered, where you kind of have to see it from above.
But this is the second time where they've done like they did Jabba's palace room, and it's like, look, for $3.99. You have to give me something more than just a bar where you sit characters at, and occasionally somebody gets his arm chopped off, and there's no droids allowed. That doesn't make any sense for $3.99. You're screwing over fans on this. Now, you're right, Jabba's sail barge made sense. The ghost ship made sense. If they would give me a freaking Star Destroyer for $6.99, I think people would be cool with that. But not some damn bar.
Let me show you guys something real quick. Okay, so this is the HasLab one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look what I can print.
See, I told you.
I could literally come in. I can print out like an accessory pack, or I can just print out the inside and make my own HasLab. So, welcome to Chet's Lab.
If they made a Star Destroyer and they made it for $5.99,
I would purchase.
It would be
$6.99. I purchase. I would purchase it $6.99. I wouldn't even. I would not hesitate. There are a few Star Wars ships that I just won't hesitate in buying. Star Destroyer number one. Like I want a 6-inch to scale Star Destroyer that I can hang in my room that doesn't fit.
Well, I don't know about hanging in your damn room, brother. You need some museum wires or something for that.
There better be good wires, piano wire or something.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It will be.
But I will give them credit on that. That one, if they come out with that line, what the PPI should do was we should all buy one, and then we should put one together so we can do the Flipper Frank scenario.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be epic as hell, bro. But I don't think they would do something that large other than the cell barge. I don't think we're going to see anything that big again.
Hey, Travis, actually, you know what? I would buy this if I could play. The band would play Metallica music.
Now, you know what?
If they're playing 50 Cent in the
club. Yeah, Travis is onto something, and
I will give him credit on that. If it did connect to Bluetooth, you might got it. I don't know about $3.99. $2.99.
It would have
be good with it.
It would have to connect to Bluetooth, and you remember those things that came out that were like you play music and the little flowers would dance.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what the band would have to do when you react to music. Play that same.
And now,
song.
if it came with $3.99, is connects to Bluetooth, and then there's little monitors, so you can have the Galactic Network on it. Yeah, shit. Then I'm paying that money.
You know what?
But,
I'm afraid somebody might turn it into a strip club at that point, Mr. Storm.
They got to have some in the galaxy. They had them. They had it on the Jedi planet. So I'm not surprised it wouldn't happen there. But yeah, I would do that. The Bluetooth idea got me on that one. It's $2.99 with Bluetooth.
There we go. Listen to the fans.
And
if you're
the top tier is B. Arthur as the bartender from the holiday special.
Well, that is probably one of those back figures that they've been waiting to get out of the closet. They're like, well, let's see if we can mold this one up. No one wanted that in 1978.
Oh, that's so great. Well, another toy is unrelated to Star Wars, but as we talk about like Kickstarter and HasLab is we're toy collectors and toy fans, and so we've contributed to a variety of different Kickstarter campaigns. And one in particular, a couple of years ago, was the Airwolf, the old 80s TV show, the awesome helicopter Airwolf. And recent news, again, like unconfirmed, but everyone is saying online, all the backers, and a confirmed email from this backer has basically said, hey, we're closing our doors. We took your $70,000 and you're shit out of luck. So it's kind of a bummer for everyone who invested in this project. And I think the conversation is about this in general is there is definitely a risk, but also a reward. I don't encourage people to not do due diligence and read about backing different toys and things, because a lot of stuff does get funded. A lot of us have received cool stuff, but in an instance like this, it's kind of a bummer for the community and puts a sour taste in, people's hard-earned money and whether or not they want to invest in future projects. Like, what do you all think?
Especially if it's so expensive,
Yeah.
Can you imagine if this was, how many hundreds of dollars, right? How much was this?
This was 70.
I don't know what the actual funding was.
70,000.
But
so on
but like for if I wanted to buy one.
So there, I mean, this guy was all over the place with his. With
200.
His yeah,
that's a lot.
To like
200
I'd be pissed.
Went to like 1,000.
Like, I mean, imagine you paid 1,000 for the Masterpiece Edition, and you don't see that money again. And you never.
Well, he had one backer on that. He had one backer on the 650. He had one backer on, or he had 50 backers on the 550. Could you imagine that? It's like $550, and then the guy's just like, "F you, I'm out." Closes doors.
Well, here's the thing. I did see that, and it was one of those situations where I almost backed this because I am a fan of most of the 80s stuff, and it had magnets that connected the doors and everything, and it was pretty cool. But somehow I backed off because I'm very leery about backing things on Kickstarter, and there's been a lot of times where there's been comics on Kickstarter that are by high profile creators that will take the money and run. And that's happened numerous times. Kickstarter is not a platform to be trusted, unfortunately. And this is the problem with it. It is not so much on when you're saying when Chris says to do your due diligence. There is a little bit from the consumer's point of view, but also it's like, when I used this metaphor earlier. When I go to McDonald's and I go through the drive-through and I order a hamburger, I expect to get to the second window and the hamburger's there. I don't expect to see on the bottom of the McDonald's menu and everything, if you speak into this, the mic and we don't have your burger at the other end, too bad, we keep your money. Well, that becomes McDonald's scenario. At this point, Kickstarter needs to start taking some responsibilities because they've allowed high-profile creators, and we know some that don't draw feet well, that's taking a crap load of people's money on that platform. But it's happening way too often.
I think everyone would agree with you, but there's been a few court cases where it just doesn't hold up because the terms of use policy. The terms of use policy states that like Kickstarter has nothing to do with whether or not you get the products. It's a place to support that. The way that it's written is kind of crazy. I think people have tried to get them to change it multiple times. The worst one is Indiegogo, because regardless if it gets funded or not, they take your money.
Yes.
At least on Kickstarter, and that's Kickstarter's thing is like, they're like, well, I mean, it got funded. So you agree.
And that's, but it's kind of like, this is the point where it's just like when we go to conventions and you to see people getting taken advantage at conventions as well. You know, the community is like, there's a lot of indisposable cash that goes on through the, you know, pop culture kind of environment, and people are willing to spend things because there's a nostalgia factor. But for something like this, where it's 70 grand, this is not like, you know, some small feat. This person, you can't track this guy down. And apparently from when Darth Maddox did a little research, found out this guy don't even have a damn LLC, and he's lied this entire time. So it's just a scam artist on this situation.
So I'll tell you this, like I funded, when I was first wanting to get into 3D printing, I funded a Kickstarter for a 3D printer. I never got the printer. I spent $350 on it. The campaign got to 1.7 million, and they never produced a printer for anybody. And then everyone realized that the printer that we backed came out as like a Polaroid, my first printer for kids. They did the same exact everything, and the guy just like ghosted and then moved to China. And I mean, there's nothing you can do. And like, I was part of the battle of like going, which bothers me because like I had a Kickstarter. It was successful, like funded, right? But it was like, I know that because of that situation, there's always bad taste in people's mouths. And then, you know, I think until Kickstarter changes its terms of use, this is just going to keep happening.
Yeah, and I think it's unfortunate. I know we backed the Mad Hatter, and that was through Kickstarter. And even though it was the Mad Hatter, I'm sure his reputation was on the line. Ace from Ramen Toys, there were a lot of people. There's Mega J Retro. There was a bunch of people that was behind it. There's still a little leery on the scenario because it is a crowdfunded Kickstarter. Whenever I hear Kickstarter or Indiegogo, I'm thinking chances are my money's going to go, and I'm not going to get anything back from it. And that's the problem when you're dealing with this. I wish there was a lot more honesty in the crowdfunding community. But again, you know, you're looking at GoFundMe pages of people that are out there saying relatives are dead, and they're just basically lying and just building up their funding. So I don't know how you get rid of this other than they're going to lose that platform. There are going to be people that just will not purchase from those platforms. And that's the extent they take by not enforcing this kind of stuff. You know, but they're right. I think Dr. Brantley says something where it's like they should take the money, put it in an escrow account, hold on to the money, and then make sure that some of that stuff is getting funded. Basically, all they're saying is like, take our money. You're going to do it. We trust you to do it. But then when they run off, it's like, well, guys, you know, there's a notice on the bottom of the screen that said that you should have paid more attention to that. That's not a viable solution there.
Yeah. Well, again, we want to support creators. We want to support folks who are making cool stuff, whether that be comics or toys but again, when things like this happen, it's tough on the community. So our advice to all of you is just do due diligence and making sure that you know it's going to invest. Travis, hey, thanks for coming in. Thanks for subscribing. Before you go, you may want to just check out. We picked up a new sponsor for the show. We want to thank our sponsors. So let's get into it because it was a big sponsor to acquire on Star Wars Week.
Beautiful Adventure Destinations presents its Galactic Travel Package. Visit the peaceful planet of Alderaan at the heart of the Galactic Republic. No refunds, no exchanges. Planet may not exist at time of arrival. Void where prohibited by the Empire. Long live Palpatine. Bad travel. We're not good. We're bad.
I'm happy we got that.
Who secured that sponsor?
That was you, buddy. That was all you.
Oh,
Wookie.
Was it me?
Man, you were working on that for a long time.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'm booking any travel through Bad Travel.
Well, they are a sponsor to the channel, so you know, let's not.
And they're very, very cheap.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
We get
pay good sponsorship though.
Yeah, we get 90% of every travel booked.
Exactly. Thanks for being here, Travis.
Yeah, thanks, Travis. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in today. Please, again, subscribe, like, follow the channel. Before we jump into a big announcement around the channel itself, a big monumental milestone that I'll turn over to Mr. Storm. There are real sponsors. Quickly, first off, we are toy fans, toy collectors. So one, if you're looking to pre-order some of the cool stuff across Marvel Legends, Star Wars, Funko Pops. This crew is really a big fan of Funko Pops. Just kidding. But a variety of other things. There's no better place to do that with the new stuff than Entertainment Earth. And if you go into the video and a variety of different videos and use our code, you get 10% of all in-stock orders and free delivery on orders over $79. So thanks to all of you who've gone in. It helps the channel grow again. Look, if you're going to buy toys, why not use our link? Again, anything that we get, we dump it in the show. And not just PPI, but also all the rest of the content here on Shadowe Knows Network. Toy Box Chronicles every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Fans of toys and collectibles, and a series of other great content. And then, of course, as always, Toys versus Games in Wilmington, California. If you're looking for the hard to find, the vintage, the mom and pops, we support that community as well. We got the big box online retailers and then the independent ones as well. And that's incredibly important. They've been supporting us from day one. So if you're in the Wilmington area, check them out. Toys versus Games. Mr. Storm, a big milestone happened.
Yeah, we did. And
recently
we let out the bag on Toy Box Chronicles, but we're going to do it here. First of all, we'd like to thank everyone that has been rocking with us from day one. That's so important, because when we were just scrapping for people to watch, there were some people that tuned in every week. The guys out there, Meeks, they know that they're highly important to us. But the one major milestone that we hit right out the bat, and this was something that took all of us by surprise. We hit 1 million views, and I'll let Dr. Brantley hit up this next part, and then I'll come back and say something else.
Yeah, this is the video that did it. This, for some reason, 1 million views.
Mr. Bond.
Always love a Dr. No reference. But yeah, we like to thank everyone. Like when we go in to do this, we don't always do it for the accolades. A lot of us are, especially, I know Mr. Maddox busts his ass. He's up all night. Chris is more or less handles all of the business. Dr. Brantley does a lot of editing along myself and everything. We try to write some funny skits. Shadow, the tech master, our Sluto, Shadowe Knows buddy, Mr. Mike Button, who does a lot of recording at conventions. It's a one. When we say it's a team effort, it's not the BS involved. Everyone's humping for it. But when something like this happens, no one takes credit for the failures, and no one takes credit for all the successes. We all share that together. But this was something that we shared to our audience. Thank everybody out there that watched the videos. Tell everybody else to, continue to keep watching the videos. We're only growing. We're trying to bring you guys the best content. And we're just so very thankful that some of our newer viewers have tuned in to see this, and you're seeing some other great, outstanding work. So thank everyone out there. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well said, Master Storm. Couple quick updates before we wrap things up. A live stream schedule, just as a reminder, every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. This is PPI. Toy Box Chronicles, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here on the channel. Toys, comics, collectibles show. And then a series of other content. We've got Retrospect. So if you haven't checked the latest one out, if you are a fan of Indiana Jones and all the likenesses, it's important to watch that. A really cool retrospect, as well as the Top Wrestling Wrap-Up. So both the Shadow and the Tech Master commenting on all things professional wrestling. So if you're a fan of wrestling, that's super hot. Shadow Shoot Shot, a variety of other things. So again, follow the channel. You'll never know what pops up. We do special episodes and things, and then some live stuff that's happening. So for those of you in the LA and or Temecula area, Mr. Storm on the 19th of May. So upcoming will be at the G.I. Joe, the SoCal Joe show. So if you're in town and G.I. Joe collector, stop by and say hi to Mr. Storm himself. And then a big toy fest happening in LA and Burbank, the Robo Toy Fest in Burbank, California. 3 of the 4 will be here. I'll be there with Dr. Brantley and Mr. Storm. Again, come say hi. We might make a special announcement there. So for those in attendance, we might be doing some giveaways if you come see us. And then I think lastly, before I turn it over to the last thoughts, we did our first Whatnot show. We were figuring out some technical stuff, what works, what not, get it. And Mr. Maddox did do a single stream live. So we're getting into the rhythm. You're going to see us a lot more. So again, Whatnot, if you don't know what that is, it's like eBay, but it's a live stream where you can buy stuff from a marketplace. Really cool. A variety of different things, the stuff you see in the background at Chet's cave, my cave, Mr. Storm's bookcases, and the vault that is Jedi Master Brantley's, comics, collectibles, toys, exclusive stuff. So stay tuned and follow us on Whatnot, Pixels, Plastic, and Ink. Did I forget anything else, gentlemen? Any last thoughts before we adjourn this evening?
We are going to be, now that you're here, Mr. Wookie, we are actually slated to record a few episodes of Retro Rewind Club. So we'll be recording those. We have a lot to do and a lot to think through. Yeah.
Great.
So we will be recording those and putting those out week over week. And yeah, I think that's it for me.
Okay. Well, we thank you all for tuning in once again. Appreciate it. And we leave you with a special Star Wars nod for the final day of Star Wars week. This is Pixels, Plastic, and Ink, episode 6. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.